Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition of the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. We are working our way to the summer, and as you can imagine, we're all very excited to get into real training camp and then leading into the preseason. But we're getting little bits of great content here and there from our beloved Titans. We're going to dive into a lot of it today, so stick around. Shane, start us up.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Talking Titans.
With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cameron Ward, quarterback, Miami.
The sickest Tennessee Titans podcast. It's gonna be sick.
All right, we are back once again. Welcome back to the Sick Podcast, Talking Titans. Joined as always by my counterpart, Jarett. Jarett, how are you doing today, my friend?
Pretty good, man. I looked like you last weekend with the cut sleeve shirt. I was on vacation, enjoyed the Jersey Shore. Previously to that, I know you missed the Kevin Dyson podcast, but I had him on, held that down. Awesome dude to have on. He definitely is going to come back on the show. He already said it. So there's a couple other things that we have in the works for, possibly for him and for ourselves. So we'll see about that. But look at the nice new Oilers hat you got.
Yeah, no, I did. I just got this. I'm gonna sweat through it in the next couple weeks. I haven't taken it off since I got it. But yeah, no, things are good. Things are good. We're in the summer here, and I spent a little time in the shore myself. Had some fun there, and yeah, I mean, listen, what we've gotten since we've been here last, and again to bring up about the Dyson episode, really upset I missed that. Happy he said he would come back, so I certainly will not miss the next one. But yeah, I mean, we got a nice little semi-documentary almost of Cam Ward. I mean, there wasn't much going on except filming him working out and a little bit of conversation between him and his coach, who was also on our show. Yeah, there's one portion of this video where he gets into how impressed he is with Calvin Ridley, and I think it's really telling. Number one, how good Calvin is, to hear a young quarterback. I mean, obviously they're on the same team. He's going to say that, but just when you hear it, the way he talked about him was just really awesome to see. And there's another part of that we don't have a clip of that we'll talk about, which really stood out to me. But Shane, why don't we hear that clip about him speaking about our true number one receiver we have in Calvin Ridley?
Yeah, different. How you move, everything. Now that I see what a receiver's supposed to be like that's why I'm glad Elliott, Chim, Strip, Bryce, all the guys in our room, I'm glad they got him because I ain't never threw no receiver like him, move like him, can cut like him, and that boy he ain't selfish either. He want the rookies, all of us, he want us to do better than him because he gonna end up getting his one-on-ones.
What do you think, Jarett?
Yeah, I mean, seriously. I mean, Cam Ward saying that he's never thrown to a wide receiver like Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley having 1,000 yards with a mixed bag of quarterbacks that we had last year with an inconsistent Will Levis and then Mason Rudolph. The sky's the limit for Calvin Ridley and his offense. Obviously now with Restrepo and Ellick and DK and Chim and Lockett, all these guys, if they start opening up, and Gunnar Helm and Chig, who was in the video, obviously, who went down there in Miami, who Cam Ward busted his balls about being there on time, tomorrow. But it's just now with a competent quarterback, like we've been saying the whole time, it's going to open up the field with his one-on-one, just like Cam Ward said. And that 1,000 yards can lead to 1,500 and 10 touchdowns, like the old A.J. Brown that we had on the team, which is a true wide receiver. So if he spreads that wealth out, they get their one-on-ones and they win their battles and they just attack the middle of the field, what these wide receivers are, which are what we say is yak gods, like A.J. Brown catching the ball and running. I can't wait for September 7th, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, let's preface by saying we hope we have a competent quarterback. Of course, we don't know yet, but we truly hope and believe, knock on wood, that we do. But I'm glad you brought up the comment about Che, because that's the part I was going to mention that stood out to me. We're talking about a guy going into year three or four, I think three, in Chicago.
He's going into year 4.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, which is crazy because I feel like he's barely done anything, but that's not necessarily his fault. And to hear Cam Ward talking to a player like that as a first-year starter who hasn't played one game, I mean, that's just a different kind of person. And that's really like, forget about, we're going to find out if the talent's there. But just as important as having the talent is having a guy like that in your locker room that not only is a leader, but knows what it takes to be a leader. And sometimes you got to put guys in their place. We know Peyton Manning did it. We know Tom Brady did it. We know Drew Brees did it. We know all the top guys do it. Because like I've said a million times, since we've been, since we still had Marcus Mariota, you've heard me say things such as, you need to have every single guy buy in. Because it's not just a cliche saying, it's a game of inches. The difference between winning and losing a game could be an extra 5% effort on any individual skill player. And when you have a guy that you fear is going to, demean you as a pro athlete if you don't perform as your leader, that changes things a little bit. And honestly, we know now that Will Levis didn't have that gene in him. He was going through the motions, as you saw, bringing them to the wherever they went, this, that, and the other. But, going on camera and saying, you better not be late. I mean, that's just a different level. And I couldn't be happier. Like, I still am so embarrassed that I had the audacity to say after that bowl game bullshit that I didn't even know anything about him, that I was like, yeah, I'm out on him because he checked out of a game for whatever reason. Who cares? This kid's the real deal as far as all the intangibles besides what we see on Sundays during regular season. He's everything you can want and more, and you're seeing it each and every day with all the content that comes out. What a leader he is,
Yeah, and just to echo what you're saying is, I mean, I keep going back to the thing with when he came to Miami with the receiver going to throw with Lamar Jackson versus throwing with Cam Ward, when he called him up and said, "Get your ass down here," because Lamar Jackson's not throwing you the ball, I'm throwing you the ball. So he's holding people accountable, and now we're seeing that for ourselves with the Tennessee Titans players, with his wide receivers and Chig, and another person that holds his team accountable. I don't know if you saw the clip yet. Quarterbacks is out on Netflix, and Joe Burrow. There was a clip on him on Twitter when they played our Titans. Then when they won 37-27, they beat us by 10. And Joe Burrow's sitting there on the sidelines with Zach Taylor, and he goes, this is bullshit. He goes, we play like fucking shit. And Zach's like, we won the game. He goes, well, we had 8 false starts. That's ridiculous. He's holding his linemen and his team accountable because he wants to be perfect. I feel like Cam Ward's going to come in here and do the same exact thing, where he's going to hold each lineman, each wide receiver, and hold himself accountable to a high standard, where they're going to try to go out there and they're going to try to hang 40 and 30 on teams that we haven't seen before in the offense since the Arthur Smith eras. So that's what I'm happy for, holding players accountable with Cam Ward, compared to like soft-spoken Will Levis. He may have commanded a huddle a little bit, but he never had that it factor that he's going to go win a football game, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I don't want to be Debbie Down here because this has been a primarily positive show to this point. But the only thing that scares the fuck out of me is this head coach. And it's just a situation where I'm fully on board that last year wasn't all his fault because Will Levis didn't have it enough between the ears. He couldn't evade pressure when it was on the line. He couldn't handle it. I'm all on board with that stuff, but it still doesn't change the fact, and I know you'll agree with me here, there was still a plethora of times in last year's 18 games where he made play call decisions that just didn't make any sense. Doesn't matter if we had Peyton Manning or Zach Mettenberger under center, the decisions he was making wasn't making any sense. And I'm just fearful that even with a guy like Cam Ward, who might be in the same breath as a CJ Stroud and a Jaden Daniels and a Bo Nix and all these new young quarterbacks that are going to probably be playing for the next 20 years. We don't know how a really bad series of events could affect him long term. We'd like to assume he's got enough between the ears where it's not gonna. But this coach, he makes a couple bonehead decisions. We lose a couple games on bad play calls, and who knows what that could spiral into. And that's what scares me the most. But all signs point to this kid, you give him a play and he's going to make a play. And if that's the case, then it doesn't really matter what the fuck Brian Callahan calls. He's going to find ways to put the ball in the end zone. So that's what we got to hope for.
Definitely. I mean, like I said, all these videos are coming out now that obviously, guys are running wide open in the middle of the field. Quarterbacks are just missing it. I understand that the play calling, some of the play calling, like, the reverse to tight ends and so on and so forth in certain situations, you're calling those plays. Maybe it's the first year, jitters. Who knows? You're in the moment of the game. He goes back and he sees this, and obviously says, I can't do this anymore. So he maybe learns from his mistakes from last year and brings it in there with a competent quarterback. Who knows? But I'm trying to be positive now, going with Brian Callahan in the 2025 season.
Yeah, no, I can give him the benefit of the doubt from day one until he gives me a reason not to, and I want to be very open-minded and very, very, opportunistic for him to give him a lot of opportunities to succeed. So I have no reason to want to go in there, pessimistic. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. One bright spot that everyone keeps talking about in this offseason, including for us, because we've been banging the table actually all offseason, is Xavier Restrepo. He's coming in since being undrafted, huge chip on his shoulder. Cam Ward vouched for him. He's best friends. Comes into minicamp, comes into OTAs, rips it up, learning everything. You see him, firsthand with the Cam Ward little small documentary. He's all over the place, busting chops. And then all of a sudden, Shane, he's at Chad Johnson's wide receiver camp. I don't know how many days it is, but if you're looking, Sal, I don't know if you can see, but there's a really good group of really good wide receivers in the NFL. You got Jamar Chase, you got Jerry Jeudy, you got Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I mean, they're all over the place. So, I mean, for him to go there, go out of his way, I mean, they're in Miami probably, but to get himself acquainted with all these guys as an undrafted free agent and to put himself out there, it's just showing how hard he wants this and to be a part of this team. And I said it to myself and everybody on here that there's no way in hell that Xavier Restrepo does not make this football team and doesn't make an immediate impact. That's what I think is going to happen for him. He's going to make an immediate impact in the slot that we've lacked so many years for. We tried with Adam Humphries. We tried with all these other guys. He's going to come in and he's going to thrive, I think, in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a guy that already has a chemistry with the rookie quarterback. I mean, that alone, no matter what anyone says, is going to give you an advantage on most other players that are on the roster because the ins and outs of the way their balls come out of their hand. Wow. You're going to have to Shane, you're going to have to.
Gotta leave that one in there. That was a good one right there, right off the rip.
Oh, my God. All right. Anyway, let's regroup. The trajectory of their pigskins, let's put it that way. That's better off. He's going to have an advantage. I mean, every sign in the book is pointing to him making the team. And if he doesn't, it would be a wild series of events that nobody would expect. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's good. Everything you see from him is good. And I also want to bring up the fact that DK and Iowa Manor were at the session too. That's very important. Like I said in prior shows, Jarett, these guys, they're going to be really important if this team is going to be like even watchable this year. It can't be Lockett and Ridley. That can't be the only two guys we depend on. DK or Iowa Manor, they need to be 15 target almost a game. Not maybe 15, but they got to be almost 10 target guys a game here, or else we're in big trouble.
In certain situations, yes. And by watching that video, I didn't realize how big DK was. I thought he was like kind of a short slot kind of wide receiver. He's a big dude compared to Iowa Manor and Cam Ward. So that shocked the hell out of me when you're seeing, guys without their helmets on, without their pads on, standing next to each other. I was like, oh my God. But I mean, I totally agree with you. These guys got to come in, impact. Like I said, they got three solid rookie wide receivers who I think are going to make this team. There's no question in my mind that they're not going to make this team. The way that they've been going after it, studying with Cam Ward. They're in there, they're working, they're grinding, and they're going to make an immediate impact, I think.
Yeah, and I think Gunnar Helm as well is going to also make. It would have been nice. It would have been nice to see him there, but I'm sure he had reasons.
But he took a part of the tight end university down in Nashville.
That's right.
He was another one. He took it upon himself too. Chig was there a couple of years. I don't think he was there this year, but Gunnar Helm, rookie wide receiver, tight end. He goes over to tight end U.
Yep. So we got a lot of fun stuff to look forward to. Training camp's going to be starting in about 2 weeks. So, once that gets underway, we're going to have lots of content to dissect, and we'll have lots of, opinions on what different media members see on the field, and we'll be able to make our own judgments too. So a lot to look forward to in that regard. And of course, preseason will be here in no time. And like I said, that's going to be such an interesting. I think we've said this multiple times before, but especially this year, there are so many, jobs on this football team that there's no sole owner of, and there's going to be lots of opportunities for guys to just shoot their way up the totem pole, and it's going to come through, I think, preseason. So it's going to be really fun watch, really whistle to whistle. I think there's going to be people on the field that have a chance to make the roster, and that's going to be super fun to watch. So, that's pretty much it on that end. I know we got to do our one of our favorite segments here.
Yeah, but before that, because something took off 2 weeks ago, because we were off last week for vacation. 2 weeks ago, when I was on the Kevin Dyson podcast, I asked him about a Titans Mount Rushmore. It obviously took off. That's right. It took off for some reason. Everybody was going crazy over it, making their own. But now that it's me and you back on the show, I wanted to I'm not going to give it with Kevin Dyson. I'm going to sit here and give it to you. So for your Titans Mount Rushmore, he said Titans Oilers. I just want from the Tennessee Titans era. Who is your Mount Rushmore?
Yeah, I mean, just for historical sake, you have to put McNair and George on there because they were there for the inception, and we have they deserve a lot of credit for probably half the fan base that we have, because without them, we probably would even have a smaller one than we do. So the two of them got to be on there, and then there's 5 or 4 on the rush? Just 4. Yeah, so. Is this for me?
This is for you. Your Titans Mount Rushmore.
Like my favorite, or who do I think the best are?
Who do you think the best are that should be up there?
Yeah, so it's got to be McNair, George. You got to put Derrick Henry up there, and it's tough because you just have to. He was a transcendent running back, and I think you got to put Earl Campbell on there. No, we're just doing Titans. We're just doing Titans.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, then it would be McNair, George, Henry, and the fourth one. I mean, technically, man, if we're talking about the best, I mean. It's a tacky way to do it, but I'm drawing a blank. He was our fucking head coach, Munchak. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, but he was on Oilers too. He was on the Oilers too. He was a head coach, but
he was on the Titans at the end, wasn't he? The very end?
No, he was just a head coach and offensive line coach. He was with them for years.
Well, I thought he was still on the team in like the late '90s when they moved there.
No. The last one's tough because I go back.
The last one is tough.
The last one, I go back and forth with a couple players. With I'm definitely there with you with Steve McNair and Eddie George and Derrick Henry. You could throw Chris Johnson up there. You could throw in the Freak. But those are era changing guys.
They're flash in the pan guys.
You can throw Keith Bullock in there. I mean Derek Mason. Kevin Dyson went the 3 running backs: Chris Johnson, Eddie George. Chris Johnson, Eddie George, Derrick Henry, and Steve McNair. That's who he went with.
Yeah, listen.
I didn't want to copy that. There's no argument with that as well, but there's so many other guys deserving of that.
It's really, what's the reality of the situation is it's incredibly sad that, number one, it's so difficult to pick, and number two, that most of our Rushmore, in fact, almost all of our Rushmore, except Henry, they're not even Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
And we've been a fucking team for over 25 years now. So it's like that part of it's really sad. But I mean, I guess it's either going to be Chris Johnson or Derek Mason, I guess.
Cool.
I mean, Derek Mason still to this day are top 3 receiver in at least in Titans history. So, and he was part of a Super Bowl run.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, Chris Johnson was basically a 3-year star. And that was it. I mean, he was in and out pretty quickly. So I guess you should give the nod to Derek Mason, but it's a sad question to think about, to be honest. We got to get some Hall of Fame players.
That's what I'm saying. Hopefully we got the turn now with the new stadium.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But moving on to the segment where we gotta get some twisting here before, a little intro to this segment since we got gained traction on this. Last week I did it with Derek Mason again, Kevin Dyson, and he got one of his old teammates. I think it was Kenny Holmes. Kenny Holmes I had for him. So this week I'll start it off. Sal, can you name this ex-Titan? Pinnacle part of a good run.
Is his initials EA?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
half the battle.
Yeah. What the fuck was it? I mean, last name was Amano. I want to say his first name was Eugene.
You got it, Eugene Amano.
Wow.
8-year starter for us, and he was a part of that 2,000-yard offensive line with Chris Johnson as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Solid starter for a 7th-round draft pick.
You're right.
Well.
You're right. That was a great one. I'm surprised I knew that one. I'm going to be honest with you. I could just, as soon as I saw his face, I could picture the back of his jersey. That's a good one. Very good one. I'm going to be honest, and I feel bad because I'm going to be honest. I remember this guy's name, but I would never get it.
That's all right. Listen, this is what this game's about, man.
I would never get
testing each other's knowledge right here.
Go ahead, Shane.
Ooh, that's 21. Ooh.
I'd be very impressed.
He played recently?
Let me go back.
Is he a cornerback? Or is he a running back?
No, he's a DB. He's a safety. He's a safety. Let's put it that way. Listen, you know what? I try to make sure all of Titans, every player I use, they've played at least 30 games for the Titans. He's played 33 games. He started 33 games for the Titans. Okay. So definitely fits the bill for this segment.
This one, it's going to take me a couple seconds, but it's going to bite me when I don't know this.
It's a name you're going to know.
Oh, of course. It's not. He's a DB.
Safety.
That's not.
You want me to tell you the years? The years he played? He played for us from 2015 to 17. So, within the last 10 years.
In the kind of shit era.
Shit era for sure.
Damn.
When you're ready, I'll give you the initials.
Give me the initials.
All right, DS.
Damien?
Nope.
No, I don't know who it is. It's gonna.
Norris Cersei.
Cersei.
Cersei. Yes.
Damn.
Fucking. He was just terrible. He was horrible. He had 3 career interceptions for us at safety in 33 starts. So
damn.
But he was someone I remember.
I'm usually good. I'm usually good with that a little bit, but you got me. That's what I like about this game. It makes your mind think a little bit.
Listen, Eugene Amano is tough too. I don't know how I got that, but I just fucking
Cersei.
Norris Cersei. Yep, couldn't stand that guy every time I heard his name.
That was like Parrish Cox too, almost.
Wow, that's another name I could have used.
Yep.
Yep, that guy was. I think his first game as a Titan, he looked really good, and then he was a complete liability the rest. But anyway, we're gonna rock and roll. We're gonna step out of here tonight, guys. As always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, and you're watching this point. That's crazy to me, but we're almost at 2,000. I'd like to get to 2,000 subs before week 1. I think we will. Yeah, guys. As always, make sure you check into our social media accounts to be up to date with all of what we're doing. We do our best to give you the best content as possible. Great guests, and we've been really holding on to the bargain in that regard. So all the support from you guys continues to help us allow that to happen. And that's all I got. Jarett, anything you want to add before we step out?
No, man, fun show. We're climbing a training camp, so 23rd can't get here fast enough.
Yes, God bless. Absolutely. I'm going to be so hyped to see him walk out of the tunnel in Tampa wearing a Titan uniform. I'm going to try to be there. I told you I'm going to try to get down there with a buddy of mine because I have an aunt and uncle that live in Tampa, so I might try to figure that out. But either way, guys, have a great rest of your week, and we will catch you next week. Tighten up, and Shane, you can send us out.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Talking Titans on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.